Okay, call this meeting to order. It's Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021, 7:01 p.m. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sure.
Roll call.
Mayor Gerardo Anaya.
Present.
Vice Mayor Juan Castillo.
Present.
Councilmember Marta Garcia. Present. Councilmember Miguel Villalpando.
Present.
Councilmember Carlos Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilmember Luis Galindo. Councilmember Jesus Roldan.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on, call to the public. Anybody from the public wishing to address council?
No, we don't have one.
Okay, moving on to consent agenda. We have 3 items on consent agenda. We have item number 1, which are city council's minutes for January 5th, 2021, work session of January 14th, 2021, and council meeting January 19th, 2021. Also, item number 2, check register 2020-12, and discussion and possible action to renewal of uniform license agreement between City of Somerton and Spectrum. That's not written correctly because since it's a consent agenda, then it should just be no discussion. But somebody wants to remove it from consent agenda, we can remove that 3rd item. But if not, is there a motion to approve consent agenda as presented? A motion by Councilwoman Garcia. Is there a second?
Roldan, second.
Second by Councilman Roldan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to new business. Discussion and possible action for council members to reappoint, reassign, or join various executive committees and internal committees representing City of Somerton. And this, I asked the city administrator to put it in the agenda, since every year we revisit this, and I just wanted to see if council members still want to remain in those committees, or if there's any bylaws that we need to follow, and anything, attendance. So Jerry, I asked you to look into it. Can you elaborate on it?
Yes. Yes, we have the mayor attending Forefront Ed and the Greater Yuma Economic Development Board of Directors. We have Council Member Marta Garcia attending YMPO, and then we have Carlos. I believe Carlos, you're the president of WACOG, correct?
That's correct.
And at least for the executive committees, and then the internal committees within the city, we have health insurance, which I believe is Council Member Vice Mayor Juan Castillo. We have personnel policy, which we have Carlos Gonzalez and Luis Galindo. And procurement policy, we have Miguel Villalpando. And I was suggesting a new committee for the Greater Yuma Port Authority. The reason for that one is for new developments that may happen on Avenue D corridor for the new port of entry. Just something to think about. You know, you don't have to make a decision for that one, but this is what's happening as of today, current.
Okay. Yeah, the Great Authority we revisited years ago, but that's probably something that we can see if there's that even it precedes me that Somerton got out of the Port Authority. And remember one of my first council meetings that there was a discussion we were gonna go back and we didn't. But yeah, that's probably something that it's worth exploring now that it's probably been like 20 years that it was established.
Correct, and we can starting attending for next fiscal year if so choose. That way it gives us to put in our budget.
Yeah, that's probably something. Councilman Villalpando?
Yes, I have a quick comment. The reason that we never proceeded with the Greater Yuma Port Authority is because they were asking for us to be original investors, which the price was a little steep. And it was reoccurring, that price was reoccurring every single year without any real dividends being paid. And so the concern was back then that we would be investing all this money with no real cap or a return on our investment, and the price was pretty steep. So before we proceed with joining the Greater Yuma Port Authority, we would have to get an actual price or a cost of that membership.
To the members that are in those other committees, do they still want to continue as members?
I don't have any problem continuing, Mayor.
Mayor, just a quick question. This is Roldan. I'm also on the WACA committee, on the regional part of the board.
Yeah, I recall that you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would like to remain that.
I'm good too, Mayor.
Me too, I got her.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we continue, and the only thing I ask is that we are representing the city of Somerton, so every time there's a meeting, try to give an update, either current summer current events or an email, so we know what's going on.
Are we staying in the internal committees as well? Are we rotating? Or,
It's up to us. I don't. I don't have an issue unless there's a lack of attendance, but I feel we're pretty much spread out.
Mayor, I would like to say that at least with one of the committees that I'm highly involved with as HR is the Personnel Policy Committee, and we usually meet internally here during the day, and Mr. Gonzalez has been good at attending, but it's been difficult, I think, with Mr. Galindo.
Okay.
Working at the hospital, so I guess if Ms. Garcia, who's looks like wants to be available during the day to help us with the with that committee, I guess that's something you guys can.
I'll talk to Mr. Galindo before, and if he's okay with it, I'll let Mr. Cabrera.
And the other one is the Health Insurance Committee, very well attended by Mr. Castillo. And Procurement Policy Committee, we've met once, and yes, Mr. Villalpando was there, personally present, and he's had a good participation.
That is correct.
Okay, so replace Galindo with Garcia.
I'll ask him first.
Well, if he's not attending, then I think we can make the decision for him. At least that's my recommendation. If he doesn't attend, then let's get somebody that can make it.
Okay.
So do we need a motion or? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I make a motion to replace Galindo with Garcia on the committee.
A second motion.
Second by Councilman Gonzalez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, discussion and possible action to approve memo of understanding between Muslims for Humanity, ICNA Relief, and City of Somerton for use of recreational facilities for food distribution. Mr. Mesa.
I don't know if he's on the phone, but what's that? Oh, here he is.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, assistant director. I'm here before you, the update and possible motion to consider and approve the Muslims. Just a brief, some background information.
Now it's hard to hear.
Okay.
So I'm gonna stick with just the mic I hear here and the next to me. Can you hear me correctly?
Yeah, it's better.
This project, as I mentioned, started in October. It was a collaboration. We started with the Muslims. It was something that was intended to be formalized beforehand, starting in November. As you can see in the MOU, the responsibility of our department has been to assist with the logistics, provide and confirm a viable location, which has been mostly either the community center or Joe Munoz Park. Provide staffing for the setup and tear down, and assist during the actual activity. As the director, I've seen this has been a positive activity for the community. It's been taken very positively by community members. It's a relief or supporting system for the residents. Some points to be considered. It is going to take some staffing, some man hours. It is some exposure for the actual staff. But if City Council believes it's a good activity to continue and formalize it with an MOU, the Parks and Recreation Department doesn't have an issue with maintaining this relationship and assisting the Muslims for Humanity ICNA Relief Program. Any questions or comments up to now?
This organization started at least with the tribal nations. It started with Cocopa, if I'm not mistaken, by Councilmember Garcia, and also with the Kishan tribe as well. So it was Cocopa, and so it started back in September, I believe. There was the first initial onset.
It was like around, last year was around June, July.
Oh, was it June and July? Because I know I went to assist on a Saturday at, I think it was 110 with 80% humidity. It was on a Saturday. So that's one thing that, at least from the onset, it's been on and off mist depending on the days. The last conversation that did occur was for them to come in on Saturdays, and I believe their next appointment is for the next week on Saturday as well, and it's going to be in the afternoon. One thing is we've been kind of worried because of the number of staff members that, at least from the IGA or the MOU rather, stating 2 or 3 personnel, and one that's a concern obviously. And by doing it on Saturdays, obviously there is no personnel that we're going to be requiring. The only thing, obviously, we would want to change, obviously, on this MOU is just for us to provide the logistics, unless Mayor and Council wants to provide other amenities, but that would be up to Mayor and Council. And but again, just like anything else, we're providing a service to our community, some sort of. At this point, obviously, we do have the Human Community Foundation assisting, and now with ICNA Relief, that obviously has assisted about 200 families every time they come in. So that has helped. But I don't know if Councilmember Garcia wants to give us more information.
Nothing additional to add. Well, yes, something additional. Just to mention, when this is more out of when the pandemic started, we've seen the need within the community, and that's when Cocopa and Kashan and we met to discuss how we could better assist the community. Being that the food bank only delivers once a month. At least, that additional box is able to help these families stretch it out, for the full month. So I ask that you guys keep that in consideration with this MOU in order to approve it. And we've been doing volunteers as well in order not to use as much, staff.
Another comment, you would be assistant with storage also. That's not an issue. According to prior discussions with the Muslims group on the senior center, it's a viable facility for that. It has space. Has already been looked into for the staffing and placing the items if possible on Fridays before the actual drive, and that's not an issue either.
I thought they were going to do it at Kashan or Cocopa for their storage.
Last time Kashan was able to store everything, and if that continues to be a possibility, they'll keep doing it. Okay.
I have a question, Mayor.
You're muted, Mayor.
Luis probably muted me.
I guess my question is, I think I love the cause, but do we really need to have an MOU in place for this nonprofit to provide this service to our residents?
Yes, Mr. Castillo, that's the recommendation from legal. Of course, we can proceed with what we've been having, which is just a handshake and words between the two parties. Normally, there is a provision by resolution where nonprofits or other type of social agencies can use our facilities for either a very small fee or no cost at all. But that's just to use the facility. So in order for us to continue with this type of relationship where we're maybe providing 2 or 3 staff members, we're providing trash containers, we're maybe providing shake. It's just a lot more than just letting them use the facilities. Here you go, and the city has nothing to do with it. That's a little bit different. So if we want to outline what the responsibilities are for each party, the MOU is the best option to go with. That's the recommendation by legal.
I guess my only I guess my only concern would be, you know, if another nonprofit comes and let's say they want to provide us, you know, another service, you know, how would we handle that? I mean, and let's say and they ask for also for staff. So you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I think it's important that we're consistent across the board. I don't know. I mean, that just kind of came to mind as I was looking at that. I mean, how would we proceed? And let's say if someone else comes in and let's say, you know what I want, could you help us out?
Mr. Steele, certainly if that's a concern for the city, if you don't like that type of language, if we can strike it. I know, and it's by a case-by-case basis. So we've had other nonprofits approach us, such as AZ at Work. Maybe was it Mr. Valentin Casillas, where we agreed that they could use a room over there at the old gym and maybe use a Wi-Fi or some. I mean, so it's more than just use of a facility. Sometimes when we have these MOUs, it's a little bit more that the city is giving. Now we didn't provide any man hours, but again, it's on a case-by-case basis that you guys decide what type of relationships best fit our needs and provide the best service for our community. Another MOU that we recently passed, but it never really came to fruition, was the MOU with the Somerton Soccer League, and where we were going to provide the facilities, maybe flags and I don't know the details, but it's something more than just a facility. And so when we have those nonprofits or those agencies coming in and they present to us and we think it's a service to our community, then we enter into MOUs. That's the best. That's the recommended way to go with these.
Yeah, to me, I it's one of those that I understand the value of it, but my concern is, again, staff time. Right now, during the pandemic, we have the parks closed. I don't have an issue, but, as far as what our services are, are we going to start distributing food? Then, like Vice Mayor Castillo says, then we're going to have to open it to everybody. Do we have the bandwidth when we're trying to do a time study, staff time, and when we have our parks and, but, during and these are the hard decisions that come upon us. We last year we worked on a policy because we didn't want to see this type of stuff. We wanted to see that staff knew what council expected. But now with this MOU and using staff time and having staff there, to me it's and having it. More than an isolated event, it's going to be every week. That's something that probably now the way things are, we can accommodate. But when parks open, we need staff to be working and getting our parks ready and getting our programs ready. And I don't know if we can commit to something in long term more than. Hopefully this is over in a couple months and vaccine is over. We can open our parks and we can instead of having staff going in there. And also, something that I'm always concerned is when council members are involved, then it kind of puts staff at a bind that that they need to help, and that's probably something that we need to pay attention to when we bring this type of stuff.
Mayor, this is Councilman Roldan. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I know George mentioned also that the food bank comes in once a month to deliver food and so forth. Do we have anything like that with them also? Do we help them with any employees or anything like that?
No, we do not.
No, we provide just the facility, which is the community center, every third Wednesday of every month.
And they've been doing it for several years, right?
I've been doing it for a while, and it's during the day, so there's staff available just in case something happens. But you don't have nobody assigned activity.
They have the community center and also the senior center. bancos at both locations.
No, the reason I asked that question because, Vice Mayor Castillo brought a point that we need to be equal, across the board. So when, we're going to do one, we have to do to the others. That's why I asked if we have any, MOU or anything like that with them that we're helping. I think going back to what Mayor said, it won't be looking good that we're helping one group, but we're not helping the other, So I guess you have to be, just be careful, I guess, what we're doing.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things this summer was there was a church that contacted me that they had food that afternoon, and I contacted at that time Lozano. You were the city manager, right? And I deferred to him because there's more to it than just so he had the conversation with them, but and the person in us we want to, but then again the uniformity across the board, that's something that we need to look at. And
Mayor, we can make a recommendation to strike the 2 or 3 city staff members. Any setup, usually set up, it's some sort of shade. And honestly, the shades are not used at all. By the time the shade is put up and by the time we pass on food, the shade is actually on the way. So in the last couple of times that we try to do it, shade is not needed. So there's no tear down or set up. We can strike the 2 to 3 staff members because it's actually on a Saturday.
So
and then we can also have.
If that's the case, then we wouldn't need an MOU, right? Because then we would be following our policy.
Correct. And then, the other thing is, if the MOU is done, then extend it all the way through June and revisit this maybe May, June to see what's occurring at that point.
Councilman Villalpando?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I completely agree with you, Mayor, as far as it being a delicate matter, and the way I see it too, we have to be fair with all nonprofit organizations, although they are doing the community a great thing by bringing them extra food boxes. I wonder if staff has looked at different options. If shade is needed, have we spoken to the schools and see if we could use some of those their parking lots? They do have the solar panels that act as shade structures. And if staff is needed or volunteers is needed, have we spoken to Judge Figueroa to see if there's anybody that can possibly help out that has to do a community service? Is those options that us as a city can contribute and bring in different ideas to make this whole monthly event happen without really the city having to absorb any of these costs. I am concerned that the food bank will now come back if we go with the MOU as presented, that they're going to request the same thing. And a while back, the food bank had requested I don't know if it was like $1,000 or $1,500 from the city in order for fuel. I mean, that can be also another possibility for this organization as well, that they might come back and request that funding. So for me, I feel that we have to be very careful when we start getting involved in a social service per se for the community, because we're not in that type of business. We're not we're not a developers. We're just a city providing some basic needs that the community needs. So I guess my question is, this all that they've ever requested?
At this point, that's all they requested. I know at one point they were requesting a possible donation for fuel. coming from Phoenix, and or rental, just fuel.
So again, I agree with the vice mayor. I mean, with the mayor, we might not need an MOU if all we're going to do is let them use our facility. But quite honestly, I think we should use our partnership with the schools and see if they're willing to accommodate them at the schools. And you know what? Quite honestly, when I spoke to Carlos Gonzalez, he's the one that came up with that idea. So I'm stealing your idea, Councilman Gonzalez.
We can surely reach out to the schools, see if that's a possibility.
I have a question. Yeah. Just for I guess for my clarification. Yeah. So if we have the food bank coming in and providing a similar service, what would be the difference if we don't have an MOU with them and we are going to have one with? If we're considering one with this agency, what would the difference be?
Well, right now, the food bank's coming in and using our facility just like any other nonprofit. We're not committed to having staff there. We're not committed to providing shade. We're not. I mean, as we know, there's senior center staff around at all times, and they might be out there talking to seniors or whatnot. But we're not committed with anything other than coming into our parking lot, coming into our facility. With this, obviously, from when this program started, we've always kind of helped out, I think, a little bit more with maybe the shade or no shade or people being out there and whatnot. My biggest concern is that if people see the city of Somerton and they see the facility and they see our people out there, then if something happens from a legal standpoint, it's a liability. Someone gets sick or gets an item that's whatnot. But other than that, yeah, it's just MOUs make the city a little bit more committed with a couple more responsibilities than just a normal organization coming in to use the facility, I guess.
Just want to mention that it's a possibility with the schools to have that collaboration. It would be great. If not, the shades are going to be needed because in the month it's going to start getting warmer. And even in the mornings, you never know. Because this is set to last until December, so.
And I understand council's not arguing the benefit that we see for the community. It's just the precedent that it sets. And
there is a termination within 30-day clause by other parties. So if the city wanted to terminate the MOU in May, all we need to send is a 30-day notice saying that we're not continuing with the MOU and vice versa, so that everybody's clear on that.
Mayor, this is Councilman Villalpando.
yes, Councilman.
I think at this point in time, maybe the staff needs to see if they could work out something with the school so the shades aren't needed, which would cut back drastically on some of these costs, which would probably eliminate the need for an MOU. And so for me, I feel that we could probably table this item and give direction to staff to possibly look into coordinating with Judge Figueroa and the school to meet these needs.
And also, Mayor, also the Parks and Rec Commission, if they're meeting, that's some of the things that they can help out too.
Yes.
As far as the schools, as far as the school's concerned, is it are you mentioning for the school to have an MOU with ICNA and not the city? There's a difference. The agreement that we have is for the city to use some of their facilities for the city's needs. Now, if if we have ICNA, if they're going to have an MOU with the city, then at that point we can use their facilities as disbursement. But I can't speak for the school, but then at that point it'll be an MOU with the school if it's directly them using that MOU and serving the community of purpose. So there's two things as far as the liability is concerned: either the city or the school. If we're using ICNA with the city, then obviously we can use their facilities without having to worry about anything else other than that liability.
Mayor, if I may, Mayor, if I may, yeah, the only thing I do have a lot of respect of anybody for humanity ICNA relief, to provide food for everyone, especially during these times. And by the fact that for this MOU, if it takes place in a school setting, we will eliminate at least the first 3 bullets and what the city will provide, which is the location, the setup, tear down, and probably some other bullets that are here. And the only thing they got to do is, since they already have, they will be providing insurability, the certificate of liability. All they got to do is name the Somerton School District as an additional insured, and that's pretty much it. And I don't even think they have to go through an MOU with the school district. But that's something that the city manager can talk to the superintendent about, And I think she will be willing to, because I was thinking more of a Tierra del Sol, because they have, how the parents drop the kids at the school. It's pretty much the same process and the same format. They will come in, pick out their box, and just go out through the exit. It's come in, go out, and the shade is there, and that way we'll eliminate probably have one patrol officer just kind of like for the traffic. But other than that, I think that will be the best way to go.
So is there a motion to table this item?
So move, Mayor.
A motion by Councilman Gonzalez,
Second.
second by Councilman Villalpando. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Item number 3, discussion and possible action to approve resolution 2021-001, the resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Somerton declaring as public record certain document filed city clerk and the 2012-2014 amendments to the tax code of the city of Somerton.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jorge Lozano, City Attorney. As we're moving forward in amending our tax code with the recommended suggestions of the Arizona League of Cities and Towns, this resolution simply declares those amendments to be a public record. When we pass the actual ordinance, or we're talking about passing the actual ordinances, making this a public record helps in reducing our printing costs, because we don't have to print the whole entire document in the newspaper, but just that portion of the ordinance that we need. So yes, so we're declaring this to be the amendments to be a public document, and that's the resolution that's attached.
Is there a motion to approve resolution 2021-001?
So moved, Mayor. Roldan.
There's a motion by Councilman Roldan,
Okay.
second by Vice Mayor Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, discussion and possible action to review and appoint Marco Antonio Nixon as new member of the Residential, Commercial Advisory and Appeal Board.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of council. Carmen Juarez, Community Development Director. And after several terms that have expired and to maintain the board complete, staff has extended an invitation to professionals in the construction and design field to be part of the residential and commercial advisory board. One letter of interest has been submitted to be part of this board. The letter is attached in your agenda packet. And the recommendation from staff is for council to appoint Mr. Marco Antonio Nixon as member of the Residential and Commercial Advisory and Appeal Board of the City of Somerton for the remainder of the term 2020-2024. Mr. Nixon meets all the criteria that is required by the bylaws of this board, and that's why we are recommending council to approve this, to appoint Mr. Nixon. If you have any questions for me, Mr. Nixon was invited and he may be joining us via Zoom tonight.
Mr. Nixon, are you in Zoom? I want to hear from you.
He may not be, Mr. Mayor.
He's not? Okay, yeah. Marco and I will go way back. We when we were study partners for our PE. So we spent many nights studying together. So I know his professionalism. He's going to be good. So I'll make a motion to appoint Mr. Marco Nixon, PE, to the Somerton Residential Advisory Board.
I second the motion, Mayor.
A motion by me and second by Councilman Gonzalez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council.
Summary of current events.
Mayor and council, as of yesterday, 2/1/21, 9 out of 57 for the city of Somerton, or rather 85350, contracted COVID, bringing the 10-day running at a 10.4% positivity rate. So we're still up there. I mean, 10%, it dropped down to 3% and 6%, and then started going up again after the weekends. Usually that's when we have the increase. Thanks to Council Member Martha Garcia and County Supervisor Porches, they helped in bringing 260 vaccines to Somerton, which occurred last Friday, January 29th at the community center. We're hoping for Yuma County Health Department to continue to support the city of Somerton. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow we're going to be meeting on a possible logistics plan for any future drive-up vaccinations. So more to come in the next couple of days, and hopefully by Friday we'll find out if we'll receive more vaccines for next week. Our first Spanish identity development occurred on the 26th. It was great listening to some folks regarding the positivity that's happening in Somerton. At the same time, it was interesting to find out the perceptions that our community still have. I know that they mentioned the police officers stopping people at 3 miles over the speed limit. So the perception is still there after so many years. Our next meeting will be February 16th with vendors and community residents, and also with staff and council. A mayor and council retreat is generally scheduled for March the 5th and 6th. If those days work, please let us know. If they don't work, please let us know as well. So they're still scheduled for the Friday the 5th and Saturday the 6th. And that's it for today, Mayor. And then Carmen. Oh.
Mayor and Council, good evening. The 2021 Tech-Palooza will be held this Saturday, February 6th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Council Park. The Humane Society of Yuma will be having its vaccination clinic, and the city will be processing applications to renew and also new applications for dog licenses. This is an invitation to all city residents to take advantage of having the Humane Society of Yuma and city staff working together for their dog vaccines and licensing needs. Due to the current pandemic situation during this year's Petpalooza, social distancing and masks will be required, and there will not be any vendors available. Only the Humane Society and the City of Somerton dog licensing crew will be available. Also, Community Development Department is working now that the general plan and the infill incentive overlay plan have been finalized and approved by council. Staff will be initiating a process to prepare and present to council for potential approval a new design guidelines manual to promote high and better quality in the built environment, and overall to provide clear standards for the design of residential and non-residential developments throughout the city. If approved by council, this manual would be a part of the zoning code and would establish architectural guidelines for commercial, industrial, and residential development. The intent of this manual would be to promote innovative designs to enhance aesthetics by encouraging quality design, creativity, and identity in architectural character. Some of the areas that we would like to address in this manual are the site layout, access and circulation, parking areas, loading and refuse areas, storefronts, colors and materials, lighting, building and garage orientations, solar panel guidelines, cluster mailboxes, and utility and mechanical equipment. So those are some of the areas that we would like to address and clarify on these new standards that we will be presenting to you, hopefully in the near future, for review and potential approval. Thank you.
Jesus? Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. The Parks and Recreation side, the staff coordinator helped coordinate logistics and setup for the vaccine drive on Friday. Last Friday, January 29th, was a successful drive. The setup was very spaced out, and we were sanitizing everything after each vaccination, so that helped the residents keep a peace of mind. Also, staff has been coordinating with the Parks and Recreation Commission to possibly amend the 9-member format and convert it into a 7-member format, considering just for convenience purposes. When it comes to providing recommendations and making motions for possible recommendations, that's something that I'm gonna bring forward hopefully for next council meeting or in March. And also staff has been coordinating with various departments like Public Works and Community Development or City Inspector for possible change order for the Joe Munoz Court. And the final proposal was reviewed today, February 2nd. Also, staff has been reviewing specs with the mechanical engineer from NEI for the community center HVAC project for the project mechanical load analysis, and that project is moving forward. And that's it for now.
Thank you. From Chief Juarez, we have additional traffic control at recent fatality intersections. Chief DeAnda has more information on that as well. Our staff will be training on new criminal history formats to Department of Public Safety. This week, our 3 sergeants are completing an FBI leadership course brought to us by the San Luis Police Department. They're also ready to reopen public safety and plan to finish Adult Academy that started early in 2020. All the Honda Fire Chiefs, 22 out of their full-time employees, rather 20, opted to take the COVID-19 Moderna vaccine, which is 91% of Somerton Cocopah Fire Department has taken the vaccine. This past week, responded to 6 motor vehicles accidents in our response area. These two were fatality collisions at the intersection of County 15 and Avenue G. This is the discussion that a report that Chief Waters had mentioned. One was a 25-year-old female, and the other was a 50-year-old male. If one travels Avenue G, you will see the patrolling that occurs between Highway 85 and County 15. Regular patrolling by Yuma County Sheriff's Office is almost non-existent on Avenue G. Looking back in my 3-year career, 26 with Somerton, he counts about 21 deaths on Avenue G. So there's some significant improvements in that area and patrolling as well. With so many getting vaccinated and many more soon, people will soon feel that they can relax and stop masking up or social distancing. Please encourage our community members and family members to continue masking up and disinfect areas. So, Finance Director Salina Gallegos working on December 2020 entries in order to update the financials for our 2022 budget. The audit field work went well. We did have a finding that was time cards, and I'd had that discussion with the supervisors, making sure that supervisors do sign off on time cards. Budget meetings with the departments will begin next week. April Tapia, Economic Development Director, 20-acre, 8-lot commercial subdivision is scheduled for Planning Commission on February 22nd. Oriental House Chinese restaurant, the plumbing and building remodel started last week. Restaurant owner wants to open for business by the end of March. New car wash from Adidas Engineering met with staff for development meeting on February 6th. Applicant will make some design changes, then apply for building permit. Community branding project, or rather identity development project, is scheduled for February 16th with the community members or leaders and business leaders at 2:30 to 4 p.m. And then with council and staff, February 16th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. San Palacios, bid opening for Fulton and Council Street reconstruction project was held last week. We received 4 sealed bids. The lowest responder bidder was CMEX. Bid award will be on next council meeting for approval. And then we have Lozano for HR and for prosecution. Any updates?
Right now, from the HR department, we do have a couple of new job postings. There's a court security officer that was posted today. And we also have a police captain that was posted today. So we're moving forward with those positions as we speak.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. That concludes our current events.
Councilman Roldan.
I don't have anything, Mayor.
Vice Mayor Castillo.
You know what? I want to give a big shout out to our fire department and paramedics. You know, about 2 weeks ago, my son's girlfriend's family had to call 911. For our grandson, and they were there on scene within 3 to 4 minutes. So I thought that was amazing. Within 3 to 4 minutes to get to the location. So just wanted to give kudos to that. It was excellent timing. I also want to thank Councilwoman Garcia, and all staff who participating in organizing that COVID-19 vaccination event. I can't imagine it wasn't easy, and I know they changed the time. I think with the very short notice. So I want to thank you and all staff that was involved in making sure that went smooth. I heard very positive comments, on how well it was organized, and and it's those leadership skills that made it happen. So thank you for that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Councilwoman Garcia.
Well, with regards to the vaccination clinic, I think it was a huge team effort. It was a quick change in time, and we had to hustle and get all those appointments changed again. But staff stepped up, and we were able to make those changes in time. And from what we heard back from the county, our venue was good, our setup was good. So we're hoping that because it ran pretty smoothly, we'll keep getting those vaccines over to our community, and we can hopefully set up more clinics and get Somerton vaccinated. In regards to what Mr. Cabrera said about the community meeting, I was able to attend, and it is nice to see members of the community from 50 that they've been here for 50, 60 years still, have that love for Somerton and express how safe and happy they feel to live in Somerton. I'm glad to report that the color mainly chosen for Somerton is green. So, but yes, I look forward to those additional meetings that I think we'll have some good feedback from the others as well. Friday calls have been interesting with vaccine distribution and non-compliance and all that, but hopefully with this last Friday's call, everybody seems to have everything just clicked and everybody seems to be now in compliance. So hopefully Yuma keeps getting the vaccines, and we'll be able to distribute to the entities that are signed up and continue with the process. That's it.
So it wasn't Villalpando's Facebook post that fixed the vaccine? Councilman Villalpando?
No, I can't take credit for that here. But I do want to thank Councilwoman Marta Garcia, our County Supervisor Martin Porchas, Francisca there at the Senior Center, and also Nena Sendejas for their contributions on organizing this whole vaccine on behalf of some of the members of the community. They expressed their gratefulness towards their efforts. So I did have the opportunity to speak with Councilwoman Garcia and thank her on behalf of these community members that reached out to me, because they did focus. Their primary focus was on the elderly, and my family being here quite a while now, they knew who did it, but they couldn't get a hold of her. So through me, they relayed the message, of their gratefulness for their efforts. So again, guys, that was a job well done. I'm really, really proud to be associated with you guys. Thank you.
Councilman Gonzalez?
I don't have anything, Mayor. Thank you.
So how's the real world? I haven't been out. Actually, I was supposed to be out of quarantine on Friday, and I drove through Joe Munoz. I thought there was an event there. I thought that was a vaccine event. But then I went to the fire department, got a rapid test, and I was still positive. So I decided to still quarantine until I could produce a negative test. But I'm feeling better, and I also want to thank Councilwoman Garcia, because she worked hard. Like I was getting names, and I was sending them to somebody, but then it was Councilwoman Garcia that was collecting them. So she worked very hard on this event, and it was a success. And I know a lot of people that were able to get vaccinated, and the great thing is that there were residents from Somerton, and that was the intent of this event. So I want to thank everybody involved, staff, but especially Councilwoman Garcia. Thank you very much for all your hard work. It's 8 p.m. Or is it 7:57, Jorge?
7:58.
7:58. 7:58. Meeting's adjourned.